Welcome, everybody, to this edition of The Blue Line. Tonight, we're going to talk to Liam Taylor and Callum Taylor about the North Division in the NHL. So I'd like to welcome the two of them here tonight. How are you doing, Lloyd, Callum?
Dennis, good to see you.
Good to
Yeah,
see
I'm doing
you.
good.
All right, so
Almost as if that's our topic tonight.
yeah. So we're going to talk about the North Division, which you guys are very familiar with.
Yes.
So why don't we go? Let's start we'll go from the top down. We'll go alphabetically, I guess, and we'll start with Calgary and what the two of you think of Calgary.
I think they're not a bad team. So far, they've been a little disappointing. It looked like a couple of years ago that they might be a contender around now, but it's not looking too good. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They got Markstrom, which was definitely an addition to their goaltending. But still, I feel like their defense, it's average. So is their forwards. I feel like they're not good enough to make the playoffs, or if they do, they will not make a good playoff run.
All right.
Can't add much to that, Dennis. Calgary will not be in the top four in the North. You will not be seeing the Flames in the playoffs.
So now, when you say the top four, is that how the playoff format's going to be?
Yeah, top four of each division advance to the playoffs. Some divisions are 7 teams, some are 8, but it'll be top four in all divisions. And then they'll play 2 rounds within the division to get a division winner that moves on then for interdivision. So going to be tough, and I don't think Calgary has really much hope.
Now, it looks like you guys have a tough road ahead of you in the North. Toronto does. So let's look at the next team we have is Edmonton. What are our thoughts on the Oilers? Let's go with Lloyd.
Yeah, thank you. You got to give the Oilers some respect, right? Probably the best 2 forwards in the league, arguably. Draisaitl and McDavid. McDavid maybe the best overall. Draisaitl beat him in the scoring race last year. They can never seem to get it together as a complete unit in Edmonton. So they could finish bottom of the division. It'd be no shock to anybody, but I don't see it. I think this year they end up in the top 4. What do you think, Callum?
Yeah, I think they'll easily make the playoffs. I think they're easily better than Vancouver. Vancouver has struggled, but it's probably just because of injuries. So I could see them taking the 4th or 3rd spot of the playoffs, and then possibly making a playoff run, like 1 or 2 rounds. They had a great year last year. It's looked a little slow so far, although Draisaitl and McDavid both at the top of the points again, playing really well so far. Their defense is not too good, and their goaltending is just as bad as their defense. So I don't think they're a cup contender, but they look like a solid team so far.
All right, so Edmonton could be one of the 4 from here. That's what we're looking at.
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, now we go over to the Canadiens, Montreal. What are we thinking there?
Montreal's a great team. I could see them easily taking the number 1 spot. They're really well coached, very deep. Obviously, Carey Price still a great goalie. Shea Weber's a great leader. And they've added Suzuki, Toffoli, Anderson, who are all great scorers. And they've been doing great so far. And I could see them. I think they will finish at the number 2 spot, but I could definitely see them number 1.
Lloyd, any thoughts on that?
Well, when you're in Toronto, you always fear the Habs. And they've got arguably the best goalie in the league. Some would say he's past his prime, Carey Price, but he's been on top for a long time. He's got a better team in front of him than he's had for a while. I think you'll see a return to form for Price. And, the Habs are famous for putting that jersey on guys you've never heard of before, and suddenly they're stars. And it's happening again. Some of the players Callum named were not considered to be as good players as they are, and they put the Habs jersey on. Suddenly, a guy like Suzuki's lighting it up. So I think they are a team to be feared. I put them in the top 2.
Top 2, okay. All right, so then
by top 2, I mean second.
You mean second? I kind of feel like I know where you're going with for first team. All right, so then we have Ottawa. What are we thinking about the Senators?
Ottawa, they just don't have much hope right now. They're good, they have some good young players, but besides that, they have no depth really. Their goaltending is not very good. Yeah, I don't see them. I see them finishing probably last, not just in the division, but probably in the whole league. They don't look like a very good team. I could see them maybe getting a few draft picks, making a few trades. It looks like they have a pretty bright future, but that'll take a few years.
Lloyd, you want to pile on the Senators?
Yeah, I'll pile on. They're awful. They look terrible. Thomas Chabot on defense is a little bit of a bright light, and they've got the German teenager who was a star at the World Juniors recently. But I don't think you can expect too much from him. Although he's holding his own already. He's had some highlight moments, but he's not going to turn that team into a winner. So. Yeah, they finished last in the division.
I would say we have our bottom team, right?
We
So we have the bottom team, which I guess now we'll move on to what you both consider the top team. The Leafs, Toronto. What is our rundown on the Maple Leafs?
It has to be, Dennis. Nobody has more talent than the Leafs do. That doesn't always add up to a winning team, and it hasn't added up for the Leafs. They've had regular season success with this group. They haven't had playoff success, but they've added to the group this year. Thornton, definitely an important fixture in the dressing room leadership role. He lets some of the other players just play hockey. I think Tavares is another key veteran for the Leafs who's had to worry about taking care of some of the younger players, playing that captain's role. I think Thornton takes some of that pressure off of him and lets Tavares shine. I think Tavares is going to have a career season this year because of Thornton. And then obviously Matthews and Marner off to a good start. That's critical. Morgan Riley on the D needs to get back to form. He had a great year a couple seasons ago and fell back a little last year. Then there's some question marks. Freddie Anderson in net. He's a premier goalie. You never know what you're going to get come playoff time. This is a short season. I think that favors him. He doesn't start fast, but once he gets on a roll, he's good, but he seems to burn out in a long season. So I think that's going to help him. And that's the rundown from my perspective on the Leafs. I think that package is definitely good enough to finish first in the division, challenge for the cup.
Did you leave anything for Callum to dissect?
I don't think so. Well, he can give his opinion on Nylander. I left Nylander out, maybe deliberately.
Yeah, well, Nylander, obviously, he puts up some points, gets some goals. Overall, not a great player, not a great playmaker, doesn't play defense. He's not bad. He's a good addition now. Got paid too much money. But yeah, Marner and Matthews are looking really good. Marner's a great playmaker. Tavares is looking very good. Matthews has continued to score goals. He's on a 6-game goal streak at this point, I think. And yeah, I could see the Maple Leafs easily finishing at the number 1 spot. I don't really like the coaching or the managing. So I don't know if they will make it to the finals or win a cup. I definitely see it as a possibility, but I think they can definitely come first this year.
All right. That moves us down to Vancouver. What are our thoughts on Vancouver? You want to take it first, Callum?
Vancouver. I like Vancouver. They've got a lot of good young talent. They lost to Foley, which is a huge, pretty big loss. He's now doing great in Montreal. But I could see them squeaking into the top 4. But it is a pretty good division. I'd say Montreal and Toronto are definitely locks there. And then Vancouver, Edmonton, Winnipeg. For me, they're all interchangeable. Who's making the playoffs? Pettersson has not had a great start, but I think he will get better. They had a few injuries. JT Miller is a great player. I don't think it was the best decision to let Markstrom go. Thatcher Demko's a pretty good goalie. Hopefully he can take them into the playoffs. And yeah, they're a pretty good team.
Anything you want to say there, Lloyd?
They are a young team, and so they got a lot to prove. But interestingly, they're the only team in the division that advanced to the second round in last year's playoffs. So despite being young, they've already proven they can do it in the playoffs, which is not something every team in this division can say. So I think that bodes well for them. I definitely see them in the playoffs, and we wouldn't want to have to play them in the first round. I think it'll be tough.
So they're the
And I-
only
I just-
I'm sorry, they're the only Canadian team to win in the playoffs last year.
They are. They won their play-in round. I've forgotten who that was. Do you remember who they played, Kel?
No, I don't remember. But yeah, they won the playing round to get into the playoffs, and then won the next round against
Yeah.
Vegas, I think.
And then ultimately went out in 7 games.
Okay.
So a decent run in the playoffs.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and I just want to add Brock Besser, who had a great rookie season. Fell short to Matt Barzal in the Calder, but he had a bit of a down year last year. Still played pretty good. He's off to a great start so far, so he should definitely help them hopefully get into a playoff spot.
All right, great. Now, what do you? That leaves us with the last team, right? Winnipeg. What are our thoughts on the Jets?
Jets are a question mark. Jets are a little bit like the Leafs. They've been a team whose window was open for the last few seasons. Expected to go deep into the playoffs. They've had some success, but this group hasn't managed to get it done. And now they've parted ways with Laine, which was a big decision. I think there's been a comparison in Toronto between Matthews and Laine since they went 1-2 in the draft. And it's interesting to see Winnipeg giving up on Laine and not necessarily getting enough back in return. So that's a big piece of that team that's moved out. Still lots of talent left, and I would say probably the best coach in the division with Paul Maurice, and possibly the best goaltender. I know I said Carey Price earlier, but if it isn't Price, it's Hellebuck in Winnipeg. So between their talent, their coach, and their goaltender, that puts them in the top 5. But we'll see how much they miss Laine and whether they can fill in what he did for them.
Callum,
Yeah,
you
I
want to
agree
add to
there.
that?
Yeah, they're a very well coached team. And also the goaltending, yeah, I would definitely say Hellebuck's the best goalie in the division, probably top 3 in the league. They have like a few stars. I don't know how well Dubois will do there. Wheeler's off to a bit of a struggle, but he's a great leader. And Scheifele's always a bit of a question mark. He's been a little inconsistent, but I think he's still a good player. And then Cobb, who has not been very good recently, or in past years, has been very good recently, along with Ehlers and Connor, great players. So I think they will probably make the playoffs. As I said, it's interchangeable between them, Edmonton, and Vancouver. But I could definitely see Winnipeg making the playoffs and even maybe making it past the first round, depending on where they finish and who they have to play.
So, Lloyd, why don't you give me your top 4? We know it's Toronto. Then who'd you have in there? Second, you said?
Yeah, I was just recapping in my mind. I think I've given you. I think there's 5 teams we've reviewed that I said would definitely be in the top 4.
Yes.
But math is quite square. So
let's review it. We got Toronto 1, right? Who's our 2? The Habs?
Another one, we got the Habs, Montreal in second. And then I am going to put Vancouver in third and Winnipeg 4th. No, I left Edmonton out. See, I told you I had 5 teams in the top 4. That's trouble.
So let's do this. We know we're throwing out Ottawa, right?
Yep.
So that leaves us with 6. And out of that
Ottawa's
6,
out and Calgary's out. That's for sure.
so
That
it's
comes down to 5 teams
fighting for 4
fighting
spots.
for those 4 spots, and I see Toronto, Montreal at the top of the heap, and then I'm going to cheat and say that Edmonton, Vancouver, and Winnipeg fighting for those bottom 3. It's toss of the coin who gets it.
Callum, you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I'd say Toronto at 1, Montreal at 2. I could see either one going at number 1 easily. And then I think I put Edmonton at 3, just slightly above Winnipeg and Vancouver. I think McDavid, Draisaitl will be enough. Like Nugent Hopkins and Yamamoto have been playing very well. So hopefully the goaltending gets maybe a little better along with the defense. And then I'd say Vancouver at 4, although Winnipeg could squeak in ahead of them. Just considering how good Vancouver was last year, I don't see them missing the playoffs this year, but it's very possible that Winnipeg squeaks in ahead of them.
Now, it's a 62-game season. Am I correct about that?
56, I think.
56. Now, are those 56 games all within each conference, each division?
Yeah, so each team will play every other team like 9 or 10 times.
So they beat each other up for 56 games, and then one plays 4, so that they'll have played each other maybe 17 times in the season with the playoffs. By the time the playoffs are over, they could play each other about 20 times.
Yeah.
Which should make for some.
A lot of hockey against one team. It's almost a throwback to the original 6 days when you played the same team every 7th day, every 7th game. I mean.
Yeah, I guess what each division is 8 except for the North, which is 7. So yeah, it's like 4 individual like top 6, like the original 6, like you said.
So you either get bored of each other or you ramp up some really good rivalries. I think with this group, it'll be the latter. These guys, Canadian teams like playing one another. Canadian fans like watching it. It's going to be an exciting division all year.
All right, that sounds like a good rundown of the North. Do we want to, I guess, next episode, we're going to talk about the West? All right, does that sound like? I don't know if we have any special guests who want to talk about the West. I don't know a lot about the West, so.
We'll be talking to you from Toronto.
Sounds good. All right, guys, I want to thank you for stopping by tonight for a little chat about hockey, and I will see you next week when we do the West. Take care, guys.
Thanks, Dennis.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. Okay, bye.